Hello, listeners,
And welcome to EdTech Unlocked,
where we dive deep into the role of ICT in education and how it transforms K-12 learning in the Philippines. I'm your host, Juliet,
And I am Gesriel.
and in today's episode, we will be exploring research-based learning.
And I think we're going to have a blast talking about that. So what is RBL, Julia?
So thank you for asking, Jezreel. So for the information of our listeners, research-based learning is an educational approach that emphasizes inquiry, critical thinking, and independent exploration. As you can see, it integrates the research process into learning, and it empowers students to ask questions, seek answers, and even draw conclusions from independent exploration, leading to more profound learning outcomes.
And aside from that, also, I would like to add how research-based learning really allows students to engage in knowledge by investigating real-world problems, analyzing data, and developing an evidence-based conclusion. Isn't that impressive?
Indeed, Jezreel, you are right. So I just remembered right now, back when I was a student, research-based learning really helped me develop my critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Because back then, we would do many research projects in science, social studies, and many other subjects. And I truly believe that those experiences encouraged me to take ownership of my educational journey and shaped me into who I am today.
I couldn't agree more with that, Juliet, because as for my experience also, research-based learning really taught me how to search, filter, and evaluate the credibility of online sources or online information. And also, it taught me how to use technology effectively and responsibly, not just for, using in everyday life, but also for research and collaboration. So it really opened my eyes to different perspectives and in finding solutions to many problems.
Exactly, Jezreel. Speaking of experiences, we have an incredible lineup of guests for today's episode, and we couldn't have asked for a better group to break it all down. First up, we have Miss Rechelle Dumaguit, a distinguished educator and best-selling author. With a career spanning of 25 years, she has written groundbreaking books on ICT integration in education and has advocated for adopting research-based learning in the K-12 curriculum.
And for our second special guest, we have Miss Jenelyn Lorejo from Bohol Island State University, and she will be sharing with us today her insight and experiences with research-based learning.
Lastly, we'll also be having Miss Mary Liane Pacatang, a professor of education and a researcher. Today, she will be sharing with us her first-hand experience of effectively applying research-based learning in the classroom.
Please welcome our guest for today's episode, Miss Rechelle Dumaguit, Miss Jenelyn Lorejo, and Miss Mary Liane Pacatang.
Hello, welcome to EdTech Unlocked. Please feel at home.
So, how are you guys today? Welcome to EdTech Unlocked, and it is such an honor to have you all here in our episode. So, how are you guys today?
So thank you. We're good and beautiful as always.
That's the real fact that we cannot really deny.
Exactly.
Before we jump in, can you give our listeners a little bit of background of your experiences with research-based learning? Because, we are all here we're very eager to learn and know your thoughts about RBL and how you define research-based learning, Miss Rachel.
Okay, so research-based learning involves the investigation of concepts and theories. It allows students to become solution seekers through an exploratory approach in learning.
Concise yet hearty. Thank you very much for that, Miss Rachel. So, how about giving us some example on how research-based learning is applied to some K-12 subjects?
So gladly, one of example of a research based learning is a history research paper. It helps students engage deeply with primary and secondary sources. These process encourages critical analysis and questioning historical events and narrative rather than just memorizing facts. And history is built on evidence. And research-based learning teaches students how to gather, evaluate, and use sources effectively.
Impressive. Thank you. That was very insightful, Miss Rechelle. How about in terms of technology? How does it help or how does it support research-based learning?
Okay, so for the technology, the integration of ITT in research-based learning provides students access to information and vast range of online resources such as journals, academic database, ebook, and digital archives, making research more efficient and competitive.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that, Miss Rachel. So, your perspective with research-based learning is really enlightening. Thank you very much for that. And I'm sure that our viewers and listeners today will walk away with a lot to think about after this episode. So, how about you, Miss Jenelyn? As a student, how does research-based learning help you in your experiences in Baisu?
Personally, research-based learning helped me enhance my learning experiences by promoting active engagement and deeper my understanding of the subject matter. So it also encourages the students to explore topics beyond with the provided textbook and critical thinking skills with analytical skills as we gather and assess information from our resources.
Can you give a specific way it helps you?
Thank you, Miss Juliet. By conducting independent research, we are able to learn and ask meaningful questions, think critically, and solve problems creatively. This approach also fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility of our learning as we explore topics of interest and contribute original insights. Overall, research-based learning or RBL makes the educational experience for students to be more interactive as we empower us to connect knowledge with real-world contexts.
How fascinating. Your insights on research-based learning truly led shed into how it aids in student learning experiences. Thank you for sharing that with us, Miss Jenelyn. Now, building on that, we have Miss Mary Liane Pacatang who brings a teacher's perspective to the conversation.
So, Miss Lian, we would love to hear your thoughts on research-based learning as an educator. So, what is the role of a teacher in research-based learning?
Okay, so the role of teacher in a research-based learning is a facilitator, a mentor, a guide, or let's just say a guide on side rather than just a teacher-centered. So it is actually learner-centered or the student learner-centered. Teachers also develop students' critical thinking and research skills, especially their reading skills and the vocabulary. So aside from that, it also encourages students to explore new things individually and ask questions on their existing knowledge. So that's it.
So, exactly. Teacher provides support by teaching students on how to effectively gather, evaluate, and analyze sources, as well as structure and present their findings. Any additional information about that, Miss Lian?
Yes, of course. So for an additional insight, so in adapting research-based learning in the classroom, teachers create an environment where curiosity is encouraged, so allowing students to develop their own questions and pursue answers. So as we have known that research-based learning is actually the fact. So ultimately, this helps the students to build a deeper understanding of the subject. So while promoting also the skills that are applicable beyond the classroom in the real life situations. So that's all.
Thank you very much for that, Miss Lian. Any thoughts about it, Juliet?
Well, all I can say, Gesriel, is what an incredible discussion. From Miss Rechelle's insights on how technology integrates into RBL, to Miss Jenelyn's student perspective on how it empowers independent learning, and lastly, to Miss Lian's take on the role of the teacher in fostering inquiry, we have covered so much ground today.
So research-based learning is truly a game changer in education, in equipping students with the necessary skills for lifelong learning. Research-based learning is a powerful approach that fosters inquiry, critical thinking, and independent exploration that allows students to engage deeply in real-world problems and develop evidence-based conclusions. So technology also provides or has a crucial role in enhancing research-based learning by providing access to vast information sources, academic databases, and collaborative tools that makes research more efficient and more interactive.
From a student's perspective, RBL is encourages students to take ownership on learning, helping learners to develop their analytical and problem-solving skills by exploring topics beyond textbooks. Meanwhile, teachers serve as facilitators, guiding students throughout the research process and creating an environment that nurtures curiosity and self-directed learning. So overall, we can say that RBL equips students with essential skills that prepares them for lifelong learning and for success in this knowledge-driven world. So we hope that this episode has inspired both educators and learners to embrace RBL and explore its potential in transforming the way we learn.
All right, let's wrap it up to our guests, Miss Rachel, Miss Jenelyn, and Miss Mary Liane Pacatang. Thank you very much for sharing your expertise and experiences with us here today. And to our listeners out there, thank you very much for tuning in to EdTech Unlocked.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow for more discussions on how technology is shaping education. Until next time, keep learning,
Stay curious,
and unlock new possibilities with EdTech. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.